What's going on, everybody? This is Kracken, and today I'm going to bring you guys a video on my impressions of the Tera Online beta. Alright, Tera Online is an MMORPG in a fantasy-based world. It's going to come out in May, and they're in beta right now, so I was able to go into the beta this weekend and try it out because they had a beta weekend, and they're like, hey, yo, Kracken, why don't you get in here and try out this game? So I was like, sick, I'll do it. So, a little bit about Tera if you haven't heard anything about it. It is fantasy-based MMORPG. Pretty sure I already just said that, but it's cool. I'm going to say it again. They have 7 unique races, 8 unique classes, and it's nuts. Anyways, they're going to the big emphasis in this game is about the action combat system, and they're like, hey, guess what, you don't need hit rate anymore. Hey, guess what, you don't need to target anything. You do need to target, but it's like you need to point crosshairs and you need to smack this guy in the face with your sword because it's all about action combat. So hey, if the boss doesn't hit you in his animation, he doesn't hit you, so you can avoid all damage if you're really skilled, and it's very skill based, which is very very interesting. Totally new kind of MMO, like setup and everything like that. Like if you ever played like kind of like Skyrim, that's basically what they are going for. Is just action combat. Like no, oh well, this guy just locked on me with a frost spell, so obviously he's gonna hit me. It's like, no, this guy's shooting a fireball at me. Oh, I can dodge out of the way of it, and boom, no damage. What's up? That's pretty sweet. Alright, so let's get into a little bit of the logistics of this game as also. Alright, it is going to be subscription based. You also have to buy the game. And the game's $50, and I believe it's about $15 a month, just like World of Warcraft, to pay. So you buy the game out of the package, and you also have to subscribe. So, not the biggest fan of that, but honestly, me and I've heard about a few other people say this is I can see it going free to play in the USA because I just don't think it's going to be a I don't think it's a game worthy of a subscription based, just from what I've seen. I haven't gone through all the aspects of it, but because I was just able to play a little bit over the weekend, but I was able to film a little bit so I could bring you guys my impressions on it. The game's already released in Japan, and so it's kind of interesting that it's in beta here, and there's some bug-ish things that I saw, and like oh man, like I would think it would be more polished, but I guess their standards in Japan aren't as good as here or something like that. I don't know. But they do have content. I believe I think the cap is 60 for the level. I believe, I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments below if I am wrong, and I'm sorry if I am, but I believe it is 60. Alright, so let's start off by going into the character creation. Okay, so for the character creation, they had a lot of different things that you could do with your character. You can obviously pick through all the races, and every race has, male and female, except for like the Papuri and the Barak only have male, and then the Eline only have girls, which I'm not really sure how those work for the other guys. Maybe the Papuri actually have girls, but they're just, since they're kind of animals, you can't really tell. It's kind of weird, but whatever. We'll roll with it because it's not real life, so we shouldn't have to make everyone be able to have babies like humans do. Okay, enough about babies. Alright, so for the character creation, they had a lot of different things that you could choose from, like your slider bars. You can make your, character be, really, really like, I'm, mean face, or really, really thin face, or whatever. I've created a female character. But I think they went a little bit too far with this because you can make your character look whack, like complete whack person. Like you can make them look like an alien, and compared to what their original like race should look like, I don't think you should be able to defer as much as they did, because I'd rather just not see some weirdo with ginormous eyes and like freaking just ridiculous looking face being my party, and just like them talking about how funny it was. Like, I don't know. But for majority of people that really want to customize their character and have a very unique character, this caters a lot to it. And, I thought it was really, really good. You could spend a lot of time making just little tweaks and adjustments, but, I would hope it wouldn't take you more than 20 minutes to make a character if you want to make them look really unique, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that can take an hour and a half and make every one of those presets just the way they like it. So that's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of games are doing that right now. So that goes into character creation. You can choose their outfit, which you don't actually get to see for a while, I don't think. So I'm not really sure what's up with that. But, I can roll with it. Character creation is really not a big thing for me. I kind of just want to, I'll pick a preset and go with it because, I mean, it'll matter what your character looks like-ish, but it's not the biggest thing for me. Alright, so now let's go into the art style of this game. Alright, so for the art style of this game, it was very interesting compared to a lot of the other games that I've played before. And I've played like Forsaken, Forsaken World, Perfect World, whatever, the other version of Perfect World, MMO. I just tried it out for a little bit. Forsaken World had a better graphics than Perfect World, but Perfect World had pretty bad graphics. But it's an old game, so whatever. Alright, let's not talk about that game anymore. Let's talk about art style of Tera Online and what I thought of it. Okay, so the art style was very, very interesting because, okay, so you can have, you can make the weapons are one thing that are just over the top. The weapons are ginormous in this game. It's just kind of obnoxious because, the Slayer, which is, one of the melee classes, has, this huge sword. The Berserker, you can see it has, this ginormous, axe thing that you can check out. And then it's just, just over the top. But, the armor sets, I really like that kind of art style. It's more like anime, kind of art-ish because they're just kind of over with the weapons, especially just over the top, just big stuff. But I mean I can kind of roll with it, and I kind of like it because it's boom, you can tell what class is you're about to go against, say in a PvP plays, because it's obvious because you're okay, well that's a sorcerer because it has the little disc thing, and that's a priest because they have a staff, because every single class has their own weapon style, which I'll go into the combat in a little bit. But what I also thought was kind of interesting was the females in this game have very large breasts usually, and most of them are almost falling out of their shirts, and also they usually have a bikini underneath basically, or there's not a lot of coverage with the armor, which I would think would be really, really bad in situations where, hey, you're going up against a demon. Of course he's going to exploit the fact that you're half naked and just tear right through you. But I mean, I guess they figured out a way to stop from that happening, but I just think it's kind of funny, and a lot of people they have gotten upset because of how they say that, girls are oh, well, it's kind of disgracing girls because they're, putting them as, items of, whatever, if you want to oogle over a girl, whatever. But, I mean, I kind of like it because I'm a dude. Hey, I like girls. But I think they went a little bit over the top of this. But that's kind of the art style that they have. But gorgeous game. Just absolutely gorgeous. Holy cow. The graphics, my machine can't even handle the whole graphics. And that's not even the best graphics that they're going to have at release. They've already stated that. They don't have the best graphics. But it's already just super, super gorgeous. Very, very detailed and everything, the tents, the trees, the just everything around is just very, 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 very good looking. So this game is just absolutely beautiful. That's one thing. Definitely, if you want to have something that just a really, really pretty game, this is the game that is just top notch. I would give it 5 stars in this, definitely. But art style, big weapons, bigger boobs. That's what I kind of say about it. It's pretty ridiculous, but that's just how it is, really. It's it's just different. So, okay, so now I'm gonna go into the combat and what I thought about it. Sweet. So for the combat in this game, it was very just their biggest drawing point to the game, that they were saying that their biggest boom, this is what they're changing from the MMO standpoint, is the action combat. So usual game like World of Warcraft, Rift and stuff like that, you target your the NPC that you're going after, the enemy, and you either, say if you're in melee, you have to run up to them and just start hacking and slashing, with your abilities, or if you're ranged, you just start casting something or just start firing. It's say if like you're a ranger, you just start firing your bow. But this game, they're not gonna have targeting, and it's not gonna be very like the traditional MMO fantasy based game like that is. It's gonna be you basically what it's like the when you're going around with your character, like your mouse, instead of just like selecting your target, it actually moves your viewpoint, and you can kind of see like there's like kind of like a plus like targeting, kind of like, yeah, it's like basically it's your target, targeting like symbol in the center of your screen when you're in combat. And so basically all your attacks are going to go where your mouse is pointed ish, but it's also where your character's pointed, so it kind of makes sense. For like the melee, it you just you go up, and then once you get really close to it, you just start hacking and slashing. Like generally it's actually your left click is actually your base attack, which usually restores a little bit of your resource that you're using at the time. They have this resource. I believe it's just mana, but it works out a lot differently between classes. Like say, Berserker, you have to build it up like it's Rage in a warrior, but for the actual warrior class, it's more like mana. In like the traditional sense of it regains back slowly, but you can get it back faster if you auto attack, basically. But there's no auto attack. You actually have to click every single time because it is action based. So it is living up to it. It is actiony. If you dodge out of the way of an attack, you won't get hit by it. So they definitely hit it good there. But for a lot of the different things, what I didn't like about it was basically all your attacks root you in place at the same time. So say all of a sudden a boss is just started his attack animation, and you're in the middle of a slashing move. If you're like a warrior, you can't cancel that animation and dodge out of the way. You have to finish that animation before you can dodge out of the way, which is very annoying, and it really kills the skill level and being aware of what's going on. Because like say you just started an attack animation, and the boss you can only have a half a second to react, and the whole attack animation is 1 second, and so you're like, crap, I'm gonna get hit by this just because I can't get out of it. I can't dodge out of the way of it. I mean, there's times where I saw where you could kind of like cut it in half and then dodge out of the way, but it didn't seem very fluid and like reacting, and like I really hope they fix it. I don't know if they are, but what I really didn't like is basically you're rooted into the animation until it's over before you can react to what's happening around you. Like I really wish they would cancel whatever you're doing and you could get the heck out of the way of it. That's what I noticed even with like the melee classes. You're going against for a big swing, which I guess it kind of makes sense, especially for the Berserker, but for like the warrior has these two short swords, and he's just hitting, and so you can obviously dodge out of the way and stop hitting when you can get out of it. But another thing, what I did like about it was the fact that yes, you can dodge out of the way of attacks. It's very, very it is action oriented, so they are living up to what they said it was gonna be, which is really sweet. And basically every attack, especially for the melee, they're all AOE attacks, or area of effect attacks. So you slash, or with if you're a berserker, you slash around with your sword and you'll hit everything that's in that animation. Like it's not just you're hitting one target, you're hitting everything around it, which is, it makes sense. It's very, very realistic in that kind of context. Also, what I really liked is the tanking, since there is the Trinity, the tank, heal, DPS. The tanking in this, which is the Lancer, the tanking is very active. So you have your attack skill, and you also have a block skill, so you can block attacks. But it's just like if you ever played Skyrim, you block, and then you can attack, and then you can block again. And then it also lets you know when you actually blocked an attack. It's like defense successful, as you can see in the some of the film that that was me playing a Lancer. But another thing is, when I was like attacking, I couldn't all of a sudden go back and block it. It was like I had to get done with the animation, or at least have the animation half through before I could get it. So I just didn't felt like the combat was as reactive as I would want it to be in like a situation, and it felt like I was stuck. And also, if you say like I was playing a sorcerer and I was kiting around, and I every single time I had to like do my animation, and then I was moving, then I had to do my animation, and then I was moving again, and it didn't feel like it felt very like I was rooted in my animation, and so I had to complete the animation before I could move. So it wasn't like, oh well, you even I would be okay with even like, well, you have to, you know, fix you get this. Sorry, I need to like form my words here. You need to continue to, before you can get this cast off, you have to stay in place. I'm okay with that. The only thing is you're stuck. Like you can't move. Like you can't cancel an animation. Like I did not see a way that you could cancel and get out of the way, because say a boss is gonna attack you and it's gonna one shot you. I'd rather not have to wait until I get done with my animation before I die. Like I'd rather like get the heck out of there as fast as I can. That was one thing that's very disappointment, was it was just felt like it just wasn't as reactive for their proposed action-based game. But I mean, I really do like the combat. It is a refreshing thing to say. Like it was very different. It wasn't like the classic, oh well, I gotta push my button, auto attack, 3, 4, 5, 6. It was very okay. Well, this guy's about to do this attack. I need to get out of the way. So I mean, as long as the animation of the boss is slow, which majority of them are very, very slow. Which that's another drawback of this game, is the combat is slow. I watched since it is already released in Japan, I watched a boss fight one time just on YouTube, and it was in a dungeon group. The guys were like 45, and they were going up against this boss, and the combat was so slow. It was very, very like you could think very, very easily what was happening at the time. So it just doesn't really seem as much action-y combat as I was expecting, at least in the game. Because I mean, I just wish there was more action, more reaction that you can have, especially during your attack animations and canceling some of them. I wish they would allow, like, say, a warrior's hack and slash in, but he wants to dodge out of the way. I wish, like, during one of your attack animations, you don't have to finish the attack animation. You can just dodge. It cancels the animation. That's one thing that I would really would like to see them do. Another thing that they have in the combat is they also have an aggro table, and there is tanking in there. So definitely they're sticking to the tank heal DPS kind of things with this game. So that is, I mean, a lot of games have that. There's only a couple of games that don't have that, and a big one coming up that they are just destroying the whole tank DPS heal thing is Guild Wars 2. So we'll see. Both these games, both Guild Wars 2 and Tera Online, are mixing up, but the thing is, it still felt like a normal MMO. It didn't feel like this weird, like, it's an action-based game, oh my gosh, like, this is so, and it didn't seem like that different from another game, like, World of Warcraft or, like, Rift. It didn't seem that different, but, I mean, the combat was a lot different, per se, but it just wasn't it wasn't what I was looking for. I do like the tanking a lot. Like, I think I would really enjoy the tanking of this game, but I don't think I would go out and buy it. And also, since I have to subscribe to it, I might be, I'd be okay with buying this game, because it is very, very polished, very, very nice looking game. And I would find it very entertaining, but I wouldn't bring myself to actually subscribe and continue paying money for this game and put a lot of time into it. So we'll see how it is. If they change some things about it, I might go look at it again. If they are able to cancel the attack animations, and so I don't feel as rooted in my attack animations, I would probably go back to it. Another thing about is kind of a negative towards the combat is the hitboxes with the beasts and the NPCs are ginormous. Like, they're like, oh, we actually have to aim. It's like, well, you do, but you gotta go and like let's shoot it that way. It'll hit it because the hitboxes are pretty ginormous. Not even gonna lie, I could be like 3 yards away from a target because it actually shows your meters like distance wise. And I could still hit it even though I was a melee. I was like, well, this isn't right. Like, I should not be able to hit this guy right now. So that was another thing. It was like, meh. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want to rage. It was still the combat was still pretty good, but I would only give it at a 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly. And so now for the last finish up what we're doing, I'm gonna go into the quest design system. Tera. The quest design system in this game wasn't the worst I've ever seen, but is nothing to write home about, and it wasn't anywhere close to a good questing system. One thing is, it was very, like, you kind of had a cool, like, intro that you're, like, flying in on, some, like, horse things, like, well, I don't know, they're winged horses, I forget what they're called, but, like a phoenix? No, that's the fiery bird. Whatever. You know, you're just flying in and you're like, oh, you're on a mission and you're a recruit. And the NPCs that were talking to you were pretty negative. They were like, you're a punk and I'm going to treat you like a punk because you're only level 5 and like you're just a recruit of this game. So I was like, well, hey, I'm helping you out. Like, and you're saying I'm just like this little guy and just like bringing you down. I didn't like that about it. But for the quest design system, it was go kill 10 trees and come back to me. Go kill a bunch of these little guys and come back to me. Oh, you need to go kill this boss because he's killing pigs. And you're like, okay, that's awesome. Like, very, very weak quest. Like, and then the English on the quest text was really, really bad, and the writing of it was really, really bad and very unengaging. I only read like 2 of the quest text things, and it was pretty bad. And it got to a thing of like, I was like, oh well, obviously they don't want me to read it, so I'm just gonna pick this up, and you can see the objective on your tab and say like, oh well, you need to go kill these guys, and you also has like the NPCs actually have like a little mark on them saying, hey, this is for your quest, so I should kill this mob. It was very, very 10 kill rats, come back to me, and then I'm going to tell you to go kill another 10 rats, and then going to come back to me, and then I'm going to tell you to go kill another thing. It was very, very, and then like, oh, you need to go gather this, oh, you need to go, click on this. It was very, very unengaging and very unimmersive. It wasn't immersing. I wasn't immersed in the lore or the content very much. It was just, oh, I need to go kill this, and I can check out the action, the action combat. Oh, I need to go kill this, and then so I can check out the action combat even more. Like, I feel like Tera, they were really like, oh, look, the combat's action-y, but then it's kind of not because they're rooted and stuff like that. So like, I don't know, it was and then the story was really, really bad. And honestly, I had to go look up what the story really was because I didn't get it from playing the game, which is really, really bad. Honestly, like their storytelling was really, really just bad. Like they had a cool like end boss before you left the island, which was where you started on, which you're not really sure why you're there. I guess you're helping out because they just found this island or something like that, or just appeared or something. I don't even know. See, that's the thing. I was on the island for 12 levels or like 11 levels on my warrior, and I didn't even know. And then I left the island and I got to this big city, and they were like, "Oh, well, you need to go help these people out," and because we're getting attacked by demons, and you're like, oh, "Okay, why are you being attacked by demons?" Because the other people are going to attack these other demons that are trying to kill us, but we don't even know why they're trying to kill us. Like the NPCs don't even know what's happening. Like the story was just bad. Honestly, that was a very disappointment. I would only give it like 2 out of 5 stars. Just being nice, honestly. So that's all my impressions of the game, because I basically went through everything. I did not go through crafting, and I was unable to do any PvP, which I was kind of bummed out about because I think PvP will also be pretty good in this game, especially because it is action based. But on top of that, you're still rooted in your animation. So if someone all of a sudden jumps out, if you're in the middle of your attack animation, you can't dodge out of the way. So it's always a drawback. But that was basically everything about it. Let's see. For the whole game, when we're talking about rating the whole game, I would give this game a 3.5 out of 5 stars because it was pretty good, but it definitely wasn't amazing, and especially the quest and the story really kind of killed it for me. A decent bit. So it was definitely a disappointment on that lines, and also the rooting animations with the combat was also very frustrating. Also, the hitboxes were just kind of ridiculous. But overall, I mean, it was a decent game. If it was free to play or buy to play, I would probably consider buying this title. But right now, with the combat the way it is, I probably won't actually get the game. But I mean, it was pretty good. Very like if you're looking just for a game that looks pretty, oh, beautiful game. They did awesome with the graphics. But as far as lore and the combat, eh, just not just not up to par of what I would want to see in an MMO that I'm gonna pay and also spend a lot of time into. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is brought to you by Kracken. So keep it classy, folks. Later.